The biggest problem facing transplant today is a severe lack of communication. So I was 36 when I was put on the transplant list. I'm 40 now, and in that period of time, I think I only talked to my transplant coordinator twice, maybe three times in a 4 year span. And like this is one of the reasons why like nobody trusts, like people don't trust the transplant centers. You know what I mean? They just dump you on some transplant list and then they just forget about you for a number of years. Who knows? It could be 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, 8, 10, 15, and then you call them and you ask them like, hey, what's going on with my case here? Is there any kidney offers? No. You gonna elaborate? No. And the bullshit excuse is always the same. Oh well, we just man, we just there's no kidneys. We just don't have any. Or you ask them things that you would think that they would know, and they don't know anything. They're just well, we don't know. Well, what's going on with the action agenda? We don't know what that is. What about the race inclusion? The race based like kidney transplant waiting time, like what's going on with that? We never heard that. We don't know. What about these new filters that they're implementing that went into effect this year? We have no clue what that is. We don't know. So it's like, well, what do you know? Like, what do you do? How can you help me? There's really nothing that we could do. We just you just gotta wait patiently. You know, it's a blessing that you're on transplant. It's a blessing, and you should be lucky to. All right, gotta go. Bye. And then after you hang up the phone, you're just left angry. With less answers than you had when you started. So for those of you who are not familiar with transplant coordinators and like one of their roles of what they do, because they don't really seem to do very much, is that transplant coordinators get X amount of patients and it's labeled from A to B, right? So I have a transplant coordinator and she takes care of patients from like LMOP, that's how it goes, like that, right? So she has X amount of patients under her. And I don't want to just get in a video and just complain about this, right? Like I want some solutions. I want to maybe make a suggestion. Maybe hire more people. Maybe instead of having one transplant coordinator for X amount of patients, maybe have two. Maybe have one transplant coordinator that deals with the paperwork and all that other stuff, and then you have a liaison that like facilitates communication between the patient and the transplant coordinator. Somebody who is highly trained on how to interact and deal with highly emotional people, whatever that emotion is, and then be articulate enough to convey that to the transplant coordinator in a way they can understand. The issue is that transplant coordinators are not compassionate. They have no hearts. They do not care about the people that they are charged to take care of. And if they do, they care about certain patients more than others. If they fit a certain demographic, or if they fit a certain, let's just be real here, skin tone. Like my transplant coordinators don't care about me because my black ass doesn't have a future. But if they have middle to upper class Bob with his own business and grandkids, they're going to care more about him than they will about me. And Bob is also a white patient, if that wasn't clear. And I know how it sounds. Oh, he's just some bitter black guy. They're all bitter about racist this, racist that. Look, transplant has been racist for decades. Maureen McBride, the COO of UNOS. Now, I don't know if she still is or not, but at the time where she said this, where she admitted it, but not really admitted it. She used the PC term discriminatory practices. UC Davis themselves have notoriously been a racist transplant center. So this is not just paranoia on my part. But to summarize here, transplant centers across America, especially in California, and UC Davis and CPMC, and I'm referring to you. You need better communication with your patients. Even if there's nothing to follow up on, at least a check-in, something